Good evening and welcome to WhatsApp Media Network Final Dearborn City Council Forum 2021. My name is Hussein Hashim, founder and CEO of WhatsApp Media Network. Tonight we're going to have candidates share their vision for Dearborn and answer questions related to the issues facing the city. Each candidate will have 1 minute to introduce themselves. Then they will answer each 3 questions. They have also 1 minute to answer each question. And at the end, we're going to also give them 1 minute to conclude. We're going to have 2 moderators who will basically be asking the questions and moderating this forum. I would like to thank all the candidates who agreed to take part in this forum. This is the work that we have started a few years back to make sure that knowledge and information and communication is available to residents in the city, especially in Dearborn, since our headquarters are in Dearborn. So we started doing those forums, those debates, and informations so our residents can be engaged and can know about the issues that matters to them, and that they can listen to elected officials, and also they can listen to candidates when it comes to issues facing the city. Today we have 14 candidates who will share their visions. We divided them into 2 groups. The first group is going to have 7 people, and also the second group is going to have 7 people. Initially, we wanted to mix between incumbents and newcomers. However, due to a scheduled city council session that started at 6:30, we didn't want to risk not having those incumbents being able to join us. So we had to move all the incumbents to the second group. Again, thank you to all candidates. And I want to remind you that on Thursday, October 21st, we're going to have our final Dearborn Mayoral Forum, which will have both candidates, Gary Warrencheck and Abdullah Hamoud. This will take place this Thursday live on WhatsApp Media Network starting at 8:30 p.m. But for tonight, let me introduce our moderators for the night. We're going to have business attorney Sujud Hamedi. She's the founder of Hamedi Legal Consultancy and president of the Michigan chapter of the National Arab American Bar Association. Welcome, Sujud.
Hello, everyone. Happy to be here.
Thank you for doing this. Also, we're going to have a criminal and divorce attorney, Mustafa Hawili. He's a local attorney and the founder of Hawili Murtada and Associates. Welcome, Mustafa.
Good evening, everybody. How are you?
Well, I spoke enough. I'm going to leave it to you guys so we can save time. Anyone that's watching us on WhatsApp Media Network, whether you're watching on Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, Twitter, LinkedIn, or our website, you can join the conversations by writing questions in the comment area, and then we'll be able to try to answer some of those questions. Well, I'm going to give it to you guys. Good luck.
So we've only got an hour and a half, so let's jump right in. Kamal Al-Sawafi, would you please give us a 1-minute introduction of yourself?
Absolutely. First off, I'd like to thank our host and the WhatsApp media staff for helping organize this forum. Good evening, everyone. My name is Kamal Al-Sawafi, and I'm running for Dearborn City Council, not just because I love our city and I have the passion and desire to serve. I'm running because I'm qualified and I have real-world government service experience. And I'm prepared to leverage that experience to tackle the residents' concerns on day one. I'm Wayne County's business development manager, and every day I work on programs that help Wayne County residents. I'm also currently serving as an officer in the Army National Guard. And as a platoon leader, I'm always ready to support our communities in times of disaster. I'm running to uplift our quality of life, improve our public safety, and make government more accessible for everyone. Again, my name is Kamal Al-Sawafi, and I hope to earn your vote. Thank you.
Khadr Farhat, do you mind going next?
Sure. Thank you, Sajid. Thank you, Mustafa. Thank you, Hussein. I would like to thank WhatsApp Media Network and all the candidates that are able to participate tonight. Good evening, everybody. Once again, my name is Khadr Farhat. I'm a candidate for Dearborn City Council, and I'm a public speaker, advocate, and activist for the past 8 years, working throughout the community from all across the part of the community in Dearborn. I have a degree in political science from the University of Michigan. I'm heavily involved with the Goodfellows, LAHC, Rotary Club, Lions Club, just to name a few. I'm running to ensure accessibility, transparency, accountability. I'm running to make sure that every single resident have an equitable and a great shot at great lifestyle, fight for a better environment, lower our property taxes, revitalize our business community, and making sure that also, we have a backup plan whenever a disaster occurs to avoid much devastation. So this is me, Khadr Farhat, and I hope to earn one of your 7 votes on November 2nd. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Khadr. Mr. Kalah Othman, would you please begin with your introduction?
Hello, thank you. Good evening, everyone. My name is Khalil Othman, and I'm running for Dearborn City Council this year because I do believe the city needs a change. The Dearborn residents deserves better. The city council failed us time and time again. I have a master's degree in information technology, and I'm the only candidate who's coming to this race with information technology background. I also work as an IT manager for Stellantis, formerly known as Chrysler. For the last decade, I have volunteered my time helping youth and many nonprofit organizations across the board. I also served as a commissioner for the city of Dearborn for the recreation and parks for the last 2 years, and now I had to take a leave of absence. My plan is to focus on the main issues that facing our community over and over. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Othman. Mr. Silvio Davis, can you please start with your introduction?
Yes, thank you. Hello, my name is Silvio Davis. A brief little summary on why. We are getting at least 3 new council members and a new mayor. We need good-hearted people to step up and focus on leading this community. I am an active and visible volunteer within our community for over a decade now. I'm an active volunteer in the Dearborn Goodfellows, the Rotary Clubs, Dearborn Public Schools, Special Olympics, and Save Our Pools, which I still currently run floating night at 10 Ike and assist with Summer Stevens. I've also organized many pool cleanups to help assist and keep the community engaged with our pools. I also work with many other organizations that service all of Dearborn and really jump in when a hand up is needed. Public service is my passion, and that is why I have chosen to run, to service and be a voice for all of Dearborn. I'm asking for your vote on November 2nd. Thank you.
Thank you, Silvio. Ken Paris, do you mind going next?
Absolutely. Hi, good evening, folks. And I appreciate WhatsApp Media Network for having this, and thank you, candidates, for participating also. If you'd like to know more about me, I really want you to take a look at my Paris for Council Facebook page and also Ken Paris for Council webpage. But you know what? We need a voice of reason. We need experience. We need maturity in this transition with the administration, with a new council. I've attended literally hundreds of city council meetings and city-related meetings over the last 5 years, and even further back than that. And I participated at a lot of those meetings. This includes mayor's briefings, boards and commissions, and I've only missed, I think, 2 budget meetings within the last 5 years. Very important. Some of my issues, obviously, are public safety issues, both with traffic and crime, because I served 39 years in this city, both with the University of Michigan Dearborn for 12 years, and also for the police department, a command officer in both. I'd love to earn your vote. Please vote for Ken Paris.
Thank you, Mr. Paris. So before we jump into the questioning, I just want to make a quick announcement. We were supposed to be joined by Lola El-Zain as well as Gary Enos. Lola, last minute, canceled. She had something come up. It was a personal issue, and Mr. Enos left us a brief message that we'll be playing at the end of the forum. So jumping into the questions now, a big deal that we have in the city of Dearborn is obviously infrastructure. And the first question, and we will begin with Mr. Ken Paris, would be, what is the first thing that that you believe needs to be worked on when it comes to city infrastructure? Roads, sewers, something else, and how would you prioritize them?
Sure. I think obviously the biggest infrastructure problem that we have in the city that should be addressed is the flooding issue. You know, that's the number one on everybody's minds, but it's more of a regional issue. And we wonder why the combined sewer overflow hasn't addressed some of those issues. You know, I was at the July 27th study session for the request for proposal for the city council to get an independent investigation. It was very informative. However, that's July 27th. What have we done with that since? Where's the second and maybe third study session before we address that issue? That's the number one priority. But you know what? There's always going to be infrastructure issues. What are we going to do with the the plan to go ahead from the federal government for our funds that we're going to get $47.2 million from the federal government for infrastructure, for loss of revenue, for everything related to COVID? So we really need to know what we're going to do with those dollars and prioritize, because if we are not careful, we're going to have legacy costs well beyond 2026 when those funds are to be expended by.
Thank
So
you.
right now, the flooding is the number one issue. How do we address that?
Thank you, sir.
Thank you for your response. Khalil, would you answer the same question? And I'll repeat that for you. What is the first thing that you think needs to be worked on when it comes to the city infrastructure? For example, the roads and the sewers, and beyond that, how would you prioritize them?
Absolutely. We have so many issues when it comes to the crumbling infrastructure here in the city. But number one issue, I will second my opinion with Ken, it's the flooding. Our community suffered from major floodings that devastated our neighborhoods over and over since 2014. The current city council members failed to address this issue since 2014. And I will tell you what, they don't have probably the magic wand to solve this issue. Where they failed at is to respond to a disaster. My top priority when I make it to the office, I will ensure that we have a complete and solid disaster recovery plan that will detail the backup generators, that will detail every single scenario to avoid any casualties or any injuries that will take place in the, hopefully, God forbid, in the next disaster. As we move forward with this, I will make sure that we will have an independent investigation to understand the root cause analysis for this issue. I cannot rely on an investigation from within the city because it's not doing any good. Finally, I will make sure full transparency to the resident. If we are unable and capable to solve this problem, we need to come out to the resident and tell them, you need to get an insurance. You need to get sewer backup insurance so you are protected. The city failed on all these aspects to make sure to have a transparent communication with the Dearborn residents, and they also failed to respond to the disaster. Part of my experience, I worked as a disaster recovery manager for Chrysler for 4 years.
Mr. Osman, I'm sorry to cut you off, but your time is up.
Thank you.
No problem. Mr. Silvio Davis, same question for you. What is the first thing, in your opinion, that needs to be worked on when it comes to infrastructure, whether it's the roads, the sewers, or something else, and how would you prioritize them?
Sounds like a trick question to me. I think anybody doesn't answer with this sewer system is scary. So our sewer system definitely needs to be addressed. I mean, I was one of the people that stepped up when it was people's basements flooded. I helped get stuff out of their basement. I watched people literally cry and see the devastation in their eyes and the hurt of everything they lost. So that's got to be a top priority of ours. People lost a lot of their memories, a lot of their either childhood memories or their kids' memories, and it was something that hit me deeply. What the answer is probably there's a lot to go into this, and a lot of it's going to be funding and where we get the funding from. But it is definitely a top priority that all levels of government need to focus on. And what we need to do is be representatives for our community and the people that were impacted by it, how we can prevent it and how we can react to it when it happens, because I feel like this is going to happen again. I mean, rain is coming. It's happened. Tradition has shown that it's happened. So it's something we need to figure out and address. and be there for our community and residents. Thank you.
Thank you for your response. Next, Kamal, would you answer our next question, which is on funding? More specifically, funding for roads, bridges, and sewers could be hard to secure as well. Do you have any ideas on how to get more funds to help these projects?
Absolutely. That's a great question, and I believe that's my bread and butter. As the Wayne County Business Development Manager, I work on infrastructure projects, and before we take on any infrastructure project, we always go after every possible state and federal aid dollars. And there are grants available out there. Before I work on any infrastructure project at the county level, I always check with the EDA. I check the state and federal level to make sure we're getting every possible grant dollar. And I know Dearborn doesn't do enough of that, and we miss out on so many opportunities. And I see other communities that get those dollars, and our community, Dearborn, does not, which ends up happening. We have these projects that are unfunded, or they are funded through the general fund dollars, and that contributes to our higher tax rate. So I will work to exhaust every possible grant opportunity on the state and federal level. More importantly, we're already getting grants. Wayne County received $339 million in grants to be distributed to help communities. And we've asked communities to submit projects, and Dearborn submitted 1 or 2 projects. If I was on city council, I would make sure every possible project is submitted to the county, the state, and federal level. We're receiving $48 million in American Rescue Plan funds. The easiest thing that we can do is just spend that money one time, but it takes innovation to make that money stretch out and make it 100 million. How do we do that? By working on matching grants. And I have that experience and I have those relationships, and I will lean on both to make sure that Dearborn gets every possible dollar and work on every possible project to make sure it's funded so we can have a better quality of life.
Thank you, Mr. Al-Sawafi. Khadr Farhat, same question for you. Funding for roads, bridges, and sewers could be hard to secure. Do you have any ideas on how to get more funds to help these projects be completed faster?
Sure. Allow me first to, just add one thing regarding, our infrastructure is we have a very struggling infrastructure, and we have to advocate and devote every efforts that we have to make it better and to improve it for our residents and for our generations to come. And that is one solution, that is to tap into county, state, and national resources. It's not acceptable anymore to tap into our residents' pocket and just go the easy way and say, okay, we need more money, we need more dollars for this project or for this thing that we're facing, this challenge that we're facing. So let's go and raise taxes on our residents. That's not acceptable. We have to tap into county, state, and national resources, grants, and other opportunities. And we have to also use it properly. We have to make sure that not only we're getting it, but also it's being spent properly so we can get the job done. Thank you.
Thank you for your response, Khadr. Next, we will discuss marijuana. And Kamal, do you mind answering whether you support bringing illegal marijuana businesses into the city? And more specifically, we're talking about provisioning centers, retailers, and processors.
That's a wonderful question. And here's the thing, right? We're looking at other communities that have brought those in, and we're not seeing a strong financial argument for them. So we want to continue to study, see what other communities that have those type of stores in their location, and see how that's benefiting the community. And as of right now, we're not seeing a great benefit. So, and if we have to, based off state law, then we want to make sure we're being equitable where it's located. We've seen where the majority of people that voted for or against these marijuana facilities, and we want to make sure we're not crowding all of them in one place, in one part of the city. We want to be equitable in every decision that we make. We want to make sure it's away and further away from our schools and our parks, and just make sure we have a nice and wonderful community that we can grow in. I'm sorry, I can't hear you.
Oh, I'm sorry. Thank you, Mr. Al-Sawafi. Can you guys hear me now?
Yes.
I apologize for that. Mr. Silvio Davis, you'll be next. It will be the same question. Do you support bringing in medicinal or recreational marijuana facilities to the city of Dearborn?
I think it is definitely too early for, I think, our community to bring in something about business like that. I've seen other communities, it looks like Ann Arbor and Walled Lake have grow facilities and places where you can purchase them, retail shops. We definitely, I think our community is not ready for it. I don't think it's something that the way that our community is laid out in the space between residents and businesses, it's going to be hard to meet those guidelines on how our residents want. We want to be distanced from, a grow house that, can have extent of smell and odor come over to, a residence, or purchasing a retail shop outside of a church or a mosque or a school or a park. It's definitely, I don't think our community is set up the way that other communities are, and we have a lot to learn. Kamal mentioned it. We need to research and look at what other communities are doing and kind of knit what Dearborn needs to do if we go down that road. But as of today, as of now, it's something that I'm not in favor of bringing to the community based off of how our residents feel and how I feel that it's going to negatively impact our community. Thank you.
Thank you for your response. Next, Khadr, would you please answer the same question? Do you support medicinal or recreational marijuana facilities? And if not, why?
I'm against it in every single shape, way, and form, and that's without going around the bush in every sense of the word. I'm against it because I cannot afford to see our youth and even our individuals just tapping into it and therefore destroying their life, especially if they're not going to be using it for medical purposes. We don't have a lot of regulations around it yet. It's still early. Plus, our residents cannot hold it all at once in the same part of the city. So we have to make sure that our residents are as much as far away from it as possible. And also we need to hear for our voters. So if elected, I will certainly take into account what our residents vote on, what they're in agreement with, and what they're against. So it's obvious that our residents do not want it, and it was passed overwhelmingly in that favor. So therefore, beside my ethical and my reasoning that I provided, I will need also to listen to my constituents. So I'm against it. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Farhat. We really appreciate your response. Ken Paris, same question for you as well. Do you support bringing medicinal and recreational marijuana facilities to the city of Dearborn? Why or why not?
Sure. And thank you for that. This is very important. I'm glad that you brought this up because nobody else has been talking about it throughout this whole campaign. I've been heavily involved in this by going all the council meetings, the study sessions in regards to it. I missed one of those meetings, and that's it. They just had one this last Thursday that I attended, or this last week. Medical marijuana, I could be in favor of because we don't have a choice in this state. Medical marijuana is here, but now we are trying to get it out of the residential area where it's allowed right now. And if you don't know it, there are 5 different medical marijuana licensed facilities within the city right now that are on hold. They're on hold because there is a moratorium on it. And I believe it's until December 13th while the council still continues to discuss it. But medical marijuana is fine, but recreational marijuana, no, I'm absolutely against it. And I'm going to tell you why. Everybody thinks it's a boondoggle to be able to bring in revenue to the city of Dearborn. Michigan Municipal League said a couple of years ago would bring in at least $100,000 for licensed facilities. Guess what? Just recently it was released. It's $28,000.32 per licensed facility for medical marijuana. No, and voices spoke loud and clear. 16,299 people voted against or voted for recreational marijuana, and 16,277, only 22 less. 50-50 split said that they did not want recreational marijuana. But do you want, that's fine, having that adult use, but I don't want the licensed facilities in our neighborhoods. I don't want it on our Warren Avenue. I don't want it along Michigan Avenue. For a destination to come to Dearborn to be able to buy recreational marijuana. Thank you.
Thank you for your response. Last but not least, Khalil, would you answer the same question? Would you support bringing legal marijuana businesses into the city, either medicinal or recreational? And if not, why?
I really appreciate the question, and I appreciate the people who were straightforward with their answers. No, I don't support either the medical marijuana or the recreation marijuana for these reasons. The city council passed an ordinance back into around September timeframe 2020 to allow the caregiver medical marijuana facility to be an industrial zoning area, ABC, around, away from residential areas about 150 feet. The same people are discussing last week in a study session the same ordinance, and they failed to acknowledge this ordinance will not solve the problem they are trying to solve from the first place. They started this ordinance because they want to get the marijuana out of the residential neighborhoods. And by law, if you have a caregiver license, you can grow marijuana in your house, and the city cannot prevent you from doing so. So we are trying. The council has created a problem out of nothing. They could have said, "Okay, we will not need a medical facility, medical marijuana," and the state law will go anyways. As far as recreation marijuana, it's I think the council rejected it last time, and it's not in the play. So the problem that they tried to come up in the beginning and tell people we are trying to solve the recreation, remove or take out the marijuana out of residential neighborhoods, it's not going to solve it with this ordinance. So I support that getting rid of the ordinance as it stands today. And by default, the caregivers who are licensed, they can grow it today. I have one in my neighborhood. Can the city prevent them? No. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Othman, for your response. We really appreciate it. The next question is going to fall into the category of public safety. As we all know, public safety is a major issue in the city of Dearborn. Starting with you, Mr. Silvio Davis. As you know, reckless driving, speeding, and car accidents have increased dramatically in the recent years. If elected to the city council, what would you do in order to fix these issues?
You know, this is definitely a hot topic right now, and it's something that what we need to do as a community is listen to each other, and we need to see what is going on at night. You know, we're seeing car accident after car accident after car accident, speeding after speeding after speeding, and it's a serious problem. And it doesn't start with the police department, as some people are pointing the finger at. We need more police. We do need more police within our community, and that's something I'm definitely going to push for. But we also need to educate our young drivers, our young leaders, our community leaders, people in the school, our driving facilities that are giving out these licenses. We need to educate and let people know what they're doing. I mean, they think that it's either fun or they get, respect from it or whatever, whatever they get out of it, whatever the mindset is that we need to educate is the big thing, and listen to our residents and get our residents involved. We need to get everybody. It's going to be a team effort to try to put a stop or pause or eliminate a small portion of this. The way that we do it is we have to listen to each other and understand what's going on. I mean, I can go on Facebook or go on Instagram any time of the day, and it seems like there's an accident, and it's something that our police department can't be everywhere. That's the reality of it. We can invest speed bumps in our community. I think it's more of along the line of educating and investing in our people and our police department, to enforce the law, hold people accountable. When you get a ticket, you're not going to write this ticket for a 5 over or 10 over. If you're doing X amount of miles over, you should be held to a higher standard or higher accountability for what you did in the judicial side of it, so that you're responsible for your actions. So that's where I stand, is educating our community and getting everybody involved and listening to our residents. Thank you.
Thank you so much. The next question goes to Ken Paris. Would you please let us know what your thoughts are on the recent statement from the Patrol Officers Union that they've significantly reduced the number of officers on the road in recent years? What is your opinion on that, and whether that's that it should remain that way?
Well, you know, I saw the statement, and I have to be upfront and transparent that I was endorsed by the Police Officers Association of Michigan, Police Officers Association of Dearborn, and the Lieutenants and Sergeants Association of Dearborn, let alone the fire department. It's disturbing, isn't it? But you know what? I served 27 years, 8 months in a Dearborn PD. I remember a time back in the early 1980s, I almost got laid off. I think we went down to about 174 officers total for the whole department. But you know what? Neighborhoods matter. If you have looked, you don't see police patrolling the neighborhoods seemingly like they used to. You don't see the traffic safety issues being addressed like they used to. There does not seem to be the political will from the mayor administration through council and the leadership within the police department to go ahead and address the traffic safety issues. You need personnel to do that. Do they have enough police? Maybe so. They're budgeted now for 186. When I retired from Dearborn PD back in 2001 or 2002, I think we had 201 officers at that time. We're already 15 down from that period of time. You know, the most we ever had was 205 for the entire department. It's a reallocation issue and resource issue. There needs to be strong leadership to address some of the issues that the residents want taken care of, and you have to hear them loud and clear. And it definitely seems like it's fallen on deaf ears sometimes. We need the resources out on the street. Neighborhoods matter. I want police in our neighborhoods and to address the traffic safety issues. Thank you.
Thank you for that response, Mr. Paris. Khodr Farha, you'll be answering the next question. I'll be asking you the same question that I asked Mr. Silvio Davis. Given the amount of reckless driving, speeding, and accidents that we have dramatically seen increase over the last couple of years, if elected to the city council, what would you do to help fix it?
This is one concern out of the so many that a lot of people are communicating with us about, especially when we're door knocking and we're conducting the discussions. I believe that it is very unfortunate to see a lot of accidents, a lot of rollovers, and to see a lot of people getting injured and even losing their lives. This is a collaborative approach. The solution for this is going to be a collaborative approach. Our police department has to be more strict, has to issue more tickets, has to be more enforcing the laws. And also we have to cooperate with our parents, with our schools and our driving schools and our drivers. They have to understand that this is not acceptable. A lot of elderly, a lot of people that are being annoyed, and they are placing their lives and other people's lives at risk. So this is unnecessary. We have to integrate technology, like installing cameras wherever that we can't have a police officer there in person. So I believe this is, again, requires a collaborative approach between our police department and the entire Dearborn community. And let's also, again, integrate technology and think out of the box, be more innovative. So if elected, I pledge to push for that, because, again, I have to ensure the safety of our residents and everybody else, and also the comfort and the well-being of everyone. Thank you.
Thank you kindly for your response, Khodr. Khalil, would you go next? My question to you is the same question I asked earlier. What are your thoughts on the patrol officer union's statement that they've significantly reduced the number of officers on the road in recent years?
Honestly, I don't know why that statement had to come out right now. If it's being reduced many years ago, why it has to come right now? But to be honest with you, I'm all for police enforcement because one of the main issues that we have in the city is public safety. At the same time, we want to make sure we have enough police officers patrolling these areas. I will come back to my original solutions. In order to address the whole public safety as a whole, we need to take a step back and look at what other cities did. Some of them, they did a speed bump, and stuff like that. But I witnessed myself that technology was used in one of the cities, not here in the United States, when I visited England, and they had cameras. They had cameras that in each stop sign that will capture the speed limit, and that will send you a ticket right away to your home if you are over the speed limit. As well as there is another camera that will monitor any theft or any activities that will harm residents, and that technology solution helped the city tremendously. So I know there are some challenges within the state law and stuff like that, but this is something that we need to look at. How can we leverage technology and innovative solutions to bring our public safety to the right standards, where every single one in the city is being safe and secure. Thank you.
Thank you for your answer, Mr. Othman. And last but certainly not least, Mr. Al-Sawafi, I'll be asking you the same question. I apologize. Okay. Mr. Sylvia Davis, you said that Khalo was breaking up.
Yeah, I don't know if it was everybody else. I apologize for interrupting, but he was in and out of his answers. If it was the internet connection or if it was our connection, but okay. I just feel that his didn't come through.
Thank you, sir. Mr. Al-Sawafi, I'm sorry about that. I'll be asking you the same question that I asked Mr. Farhat. Given the recent dramatic increase in reckless driving, speeding, and car accidents in the city of Dearborn, if elected to the Dearborn City Council, what would you do to fix it?
That's an excellent question. So, since the start of this campaign, I've knocked on thousands of doors, returned hundreds of calls. And one of the major issues that we keep hearing over and over again is reckless, speeding drivers in loud cars. And I know that impacts my neighborhood directly. I live a few houses away from Michigan Avenue, and I hear it all night. So I know what the residents are going through. And I think for this problem, it's going to take a three-pronged approach. It's going to take education. And then it's going to take some engineering, right? We got to make sure we have the right type of infrastructure, whether it's bike lanes, medians, or speed humps at certain places, like near schools and parks and other high foot traffic areas. And the last thing is enforcement, right? Till education catches up, and then we don't have to enforce as much because people will be doing the right thing. So this is a major issue, and it's hurting everybody. I see people speeding up and down our streets, and I know if a kid passes by one of those cars, they're never going to make it. And public safety is one of my top priorities, and that's the number one concern I heard from residents. As an officer in the Army National Guard, I understand safety, and I know how to work within the chain of command and work with our police department to make sure they have the right resources, the right funding, and the right training to be in our neighborhoods and keep our community safe, because that's a top priority.
Thank you so much, Mr. Al-Sawafi. And thank you again, everybody, for participating in this forum. Before we go, we're going to give each person 1 minute to close. Before we play the message that was left by Gary, we're going to start with you, Mr. Ken Paris, and go ahead and take it away.
So much for being here tonight, and to all the candidates, and thank you for What's Up Media Network to go ahead and host this. I wish I would have gotten that traffic safety question. The reason being, as many of you know, with my experience, I was also chair of the Dearborn Traffic Commission for a number of years. 4 or 5 years ago, I brought that information to the city of Dearborn about traffic calming and also ways of getting resident participation in the traffic safety issues that affect us all. This is a number of years ago, from Ann Arbor, from the city of Livonia, and brought together the information they had to the city, and includes traffic calming issues like speed humps, like restricted roadways. We have the multimodal transportation plan and Healthy Dearborn that play a role in this by making use of our roadways, making things pedestrian friendly and slowing down traffic. But you know what? I'm not all just one-dimensional in law enforcement. But when is the last time that you actually saw, with all the increased shootings, the robberies, the break-ins, and the auto thefts, we're all frightened about the reckless driving and the accidents. If you're happy or not happy with the direction of our city, you know what? Let's do something about it together. You can look to me for some direction because I can stand up and make informed decisions because of all the experience in the going to all the meetings for the city over a number of years. I need to have your vote, and I'd love to earn your vote. Vote Ken Paris, November 2nd. Thank you.
Thank you for your closing statement, Ken. Silvio, would you go next and give your closing statement?
Yes, thank you. So thank you to Hussein and his team at What's Up Media for organizing this forum. Education to residents in the community is key in this election. So thank you to all the viewers that took their time to research and understand each candidate. Thank you to all the candidates that decided to step up and choose the path of service. That is something I live by. As a Rotarian, we preach service over self, and that is the way I've chosen to live my life. I am proud of the community that I live in, and I will always do what's best for all of Dearborn. During my time of volunteering with many organizations, I made new friendships and connections with our community, or within our community. That's all led me here to where I am today. I am visible in our community, and I have been for many years, not just during election season or when it's convenient. My history of serving is known within our community. This is the main reason why I've earned the strong endorsement and support of the Dearborn Police Officers Union, the Dearborn Firefighters Union, Regional Council of Carpenters and Millwrights, former Councilman Mark Shushanian, and Councilman David Bazzi. Together, we will work to move Dearborn forward in a positive direction as one. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Davis. We appreciate your closing. Mr. Othman, would you please kindly give yours as well, please?
Absolutely. Lastly, I would like to thank What's Up Media and you guys, the moderators, for hosting this. And I would like to thank all the residents who tuned in to listen to us. My final and closing statements is basically directed to you, the Dearborn residents. You have the keys, and you have the power to determine who will be the next council members. You are the only one who will determine that. So with that being said, I want to make sure, my advice to you is do your due diligence in terms of the qualification, experience, and knowledge about the issues that we are facing every day. The city failed us many times since 2014. I've been living almost 2 years in Dearborn, and I haven't seen any major improvements whatsoever. With the budget that we spend, or with the budget that we have, I have not seen any improvements whatsoever across the city. So it's really important that we make the right decision for the next chapter of the city. Also, my top priorities, I will ensure and make sure there is a complete transparency between the residents and the city. As well, that will include improved quality of services. We need to benchmark our city services and where we stand today compared to other city that has the same size and the same budget. And we need to measure how can we move forward and how can we improve in ourselves. Also, I need to invest on digital transformation that will eliminate all the manual processes that we have to go through when we go to the city, cut off all the wait time when it comes to permits. So I'm asking for one of your 7 votes on November 2nd. I hope I can earn it. Thank you very much.
Thank you for your closing, Mr. Othman. Mr. Al-Sawafi, you'll be next. Go ahead and give us your closing, please, sir.
First, thank you, WhatsApp Media, for hosting this forum, and thank you to the viewers for joining us, and I hope that you found this informative. I'm running for Dearborn City Council to bridge the gap between residents and their local government. Dearborn needs a fresh face with new ideas, energy, and perspective. But most importantly, Dearborn needs a leader who's committed to putting people first and delivering results daily. If elected, I promise I will work to tackle the issues that matter to you most, like public safety, like our crumbling infrastructure. These are the things that have been hurting us every day, these dinner table issues that need to be resolved, and I promise I will work on those and deliver results. But most of all, I will work to ensure that every resident's voice will be heard, because Dearborn deserves better. Folks, I'm a lifelong Dearborn resident, an advocate, and public servant. I have the necessary experiences and qualifications to lead Dearborn. I have served my country, I have served my county, and now with your help, I'm hoping to serve my city as your next city councilman. And I'd be honored to have your support and your vote on November 2nd. Thank you.
Thank you kindly, Kamal. Last but surely not least, we have Khadr Farhat. Would you please give us your 1-minute closing statement?
Sure. Thank you to you guys, our awesome moderators, Mustafa and Sujud, and thank you to Hussein and WhatsApp Media and all the viewers and all the candidates as well. This is for our dear residents. We are a couple weeks away from our election. It is in your hand to make the next decision with regards to our next city council. We need a good change. We need new perspectives, new ideas. Again, my name is Khudr Farhat. I'm an advocate and public speaker. I've been heavily involved since 2013, regardless of any motive. I have a degree in political science, but public service is my path and my career. I have been heavily involved making great impacts on the local, state, and national levels pertaining to education, employment, environment, and it is a time to serve our city. I'm running, and if elected, I pledge to fight for you and for the best interest of you and your families and your children and your future. Lowering our property taxes, fixing our public infrastructure, cleaner environment, revitalizing our community, our business community, and ensuring the safety and the well-being of all of you guys. I'm a voice of reason who's able to get everybody around the table, and I pledge that I will stand up for whatever the thing that is going to be harmful to our residents and our city. Vote Farhat on November 2nd. Thank you.
Thank you for your closing, Mr. Farhat. Before we go ahead and conclude this evening's forum, I'd like to have Hussein go ahead and play Gary's brief message for us.
I would like to thank Hussein and the good people at the WhatsApp Media Network for allowing me to say a few words. And I'd also like to apologize for not being able to attend in person. My name is Gary Enos, and I'm running for Dearborn City Council because I have a vested interest in the well-being of my hometown. The city has been good to me and my family, and I want to give back. It is where I've lived for over 45 years. I attended Dearborn Public Schools, as did my brothers Dan and Lauren. I am the proud father of my son Sean, who is a 2020 graduate of Etzelford High School and current student at Henry Ford College. I was taught the importance of a hard day's work by my mother Mariana, who continues to serve as a nurse for almost 50 years, currently at Dearborn Beaumont Hospital. Being the son of a police officer has helped me to understand the importance of community safety and those who protect us, and as the grandson of a World War II veteran, I respect and support our service members. I've been a small Dearborn business owner of Fall Sports Lounge for the past 26 years. I also volunteer and actively support the Dearborn Goodfellows, Friends for Animals of Metro Detroit, Dearborn Unified Hockey, and I'm a member of the Dearborn Elks. Important issues I will address are the need for an update to our city's infrastructure and technology, as well as the need to support our police and their strict traffic enforcement to help put an end to the reckless driving that endangers pedestrians and motorists in our neighborhoods and our city streets. I will work to preserve the city's services that make Dearborn great and prioritize the safety of all our residents and communities. My commitment to my fellow residents is to listen, respond to, and address their concerns. I would be honored to have your vote on November 2nd. Also, I wish all the candidates good luck. There's a lot of good people running. I think the city's going to be in very good hands. I met a lot of good people. I've become friends with a lot of people. So thank you. Thank you for your time.
Thank you, everybody, for joining us tonight. We appreciate the candidates for being here. We just want to wish you good luck with the rest of your campaign. And, really, really good luck to you guys. And thank you for the service. We'll be back with part 2 in a few. We're just going to take a short recess.
Welcome back, everyone. There are a few incumbents that we're still waiting on, but we're going to get started, and hopefully they'll join us as the meeting goes on, or as the conference call goes on. Thank you to those of you who have joined.
For the viewers that are watching, we have with us candidate Sam Lukman, candidate Saeed Al-Awathi, and candidate Mustafa Hamoud. Welcome, guys, and thank you for being here. So the way this is going to work is we're going to give everybody 1 minute to introduce themselves, and pretty much, tell the people who you are. From there, we're going to be asking each of you 3 questions. You'll be given 1 minute to answer each question, and you will see a little timer somewhere on the screen when you have 10 seconds left to answer this question. And upon everyone answering their questions, each person will get a 1 minute closing statement, and then we would conclude the forum. To the incumbents that are not here, I believe there's still a city council meeting that's going. That might be the holdup. They'll just jump in as they exit their meetings, and we'll just include them on everything as well. With that being said, Saeed Al-Awathi, would you please start with your opening statement? You have 1 minute. Mr. Al-Awathi, I'm sorry, we can't hear you.
You may have muted yourself.
Nothing.
At the bottom left of your screen, do you see the mute button?
Huh. Well, we're going to wait till he comes in then.
Well, it might be a moment. So let's move on to Mustafa Hamoud. Would you please provide a 1 minute statement?
Yeah, sure. Thank you guys for hosting us here. My name is Mustafa Hamoud, and I'm respectfully asking for one of your 7 votes for Dearborn City Council. I think it's time to stop our homes from flooding, secure our streets and neighborhoods, and ensure our tax dollars are spent efficiently at City Hall. I've been an engineer at Ford for nearly a decade, and I believe it's time to get results for our city and to make the changes that we need. I was born and raised in Dearborn. I went to Dearborn Public Schools. I graduated from U of M Dearborn, and it's the only home I've ever known. We all love and care for our town, but I think we all know that our government can do better. This upcoming election is crucial, and it's more important than ever to have honest, well-informed, committed elected officials. You can count on me to fight for accountability, ethics, and equal treatment of our residents from our next administration. And most importantly, you can count on me to be accessible and always listen to your needs. I need 1 of your 7 votes this November 2nd. And if I have the honor to serve you on the city council, I promise to work with all of you to build a better Dearborn. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Mr. Hamoud. Ms. Lukman, please.
Hi, can you hear me?
Yes.
Great. So when people ask me why I'm running for city council, I like to know what they want in the person to represent them. Do you want somebody who never shows up when you need them? Someone who doesn't have a backbone to stand up for what's right, or is going to be learning the job from scratch? Because that's not me. I'm someone who's been involved in the city for decades. I'm someone who's been representing the little guy up to the state and federal level. I've been a fighter for residents for many years, for decades, I'm someone who's got the tenacity, the strength, and the moral compass to call out wrong when I see it. And I'm someone who knows the ins and outs of the city laws and contracts from all the research and time that I've put in. And what have I achieved? I brought green infrastructure, a splash pad, changes to the permitting process at the state level, awareness on air and water pollution, and more city investment in ordinance enforcement. Why? Because I believe it's our civic duty to do good for others. Because I want to give a voice to the voiceless. Because I can't stand to see another resident die of cancer, a pool or library close, another tire go flat from a pothole, another penny of our tax dollars wasted, or another park get neglected. And more importantly, another flood destroy our homes. I'm asking for one of your 7 votes for city council. No matter who you're supporting, I'm committed to working with them, but I'm also committed to holding the administration accountable no matter who comes into office. With me, you're going to have somebody who's fighting to protect your interests as a resident. Again, my name is Sam Lukman, and I do hope that you would consider me for one of your 7 votes.
Thank you so much. Mr. Al-Awathi, would you be able to speak so we can see if it's working? Let me see. Okay, let's give Mr. Alwathi a few minutes here. If you guys don't mind just muting your mics and cameras, we'll give him anywhere between 2 to 4 minutes, and we'll see what we can do with it. Oh, Mr. Alwathi, does it work now? I can't hear you. Are you on your computer? You want to try using your cell phone? Maybe that will work.
Yeah, your internal mic might be turned off, which would have to be corrected within the settings or adjusted within the settings. While we wait, I'd like to relay that we received a message from the incumbents. There's a closed session right now with legal staff, and that's why the incumbents weren't able to join us today. But hopefully they might be able to throughout the meeting as time goes on.
Again, we apologize for the technical difficulties. Like I said, anywhere between 2 to 3 minutes and we should be up and running. We're just waiting on Mr. Alwathi to fix his computer. Sorry about that. Okay, we're going to be taking just a brief recess in order to go ahead and fix these technical difficulties, and we'll be back with you guys shortly. Just hang in there for us. Thank you so much. Saeed, are you with us now?
Can you hear me?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Okay.
I don't have volume on my side. Just 1 second, but I heard your question. So, my name is Saeed Al-Awadi, your Dearborn City Council candidate. I'm a husband. I'm a father. I'm also a grandfather. I've been a Dearborn resident for over 40 years. I'm a business employment representative at Access, working in the community mental health, providing supportive employment services. I also have over 20 years experience in accounting and tax preparation. I have been a lifelong servant to the city of Dearborn and its residents, which includes 8 years of as a traffic commissioner, 4 years as a precinct delegate. I sit on several board as a board of director and founding member of some of those nonprofit organizations. I was a huge advocate for our census, and I provide ongoing support during our pandemic, which includes COVID testing, food drives, and vaccines. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Al-Awathi. We really appreciate it. So we're going to begin with the questioning, and Mr. Hamoud, we're going to go ahead and we're going to begin with you. So obviously, you know, the issues in Dearborn, property taxes are obviously a big deal here. So if elected to the I'm sorry about that. If elected to the Dearborn City Council, what would you do to attempt to lower taxes while maintaining the high level of services? And can it be done without cuts?
So that's a good question. You know, taxes are high, and I think the main things residents really want to understand is where their tax dollars go and how it makes a substantial difference in their lives. You know, our infrastructure is inadequate, our schools are crumbling, and our streets are unsafe. And you know, it's very normal that they want to see results for their tax dollars. So,
You know how to turn this mic on?
Saeed, I think you're.
Saeed, you have to mute your mic.
So as I was saying, you know, residents want to see results. So I plan to use my professional expertise as an engineer and as a project manager to ensure better city management of projects and a higher level of transparency. It's essential that our money is spent efficiently while maintaining our level of services. You know, increasing the overall size of the tax base will be essential to allowing a reduction in the overall tax rate if we want to maintain the same level of services that we have today. We have to do things like expand available housing options, attract new commercial opportunities to the city, and bring in new businesses and tenants. And, you know, in the past, Dearborn's taken a confrontational approach when it comes to new business owners. I think a lot of business owners have felt that way. And that's why a lot of businesses, both big and small, take their business elsewhere. If we can't keep the lights on and we can't keep water out of your buildings, how do we expect people to come invest in our city, which will reduce your overall property taxes? So at the end of the day, in order to run the city services, we either have to take the money from the residents or from businesses. And I think we have a lot of both area to grow our residential footprint, and we have a lot of area to grow our commercial footprint. So I see a lot of opportunity in that. So I think simpler ordinances and additional flexibility for development and things like that will help contribute to a lower overall tax rate in the long term.
Thank you so much for your response, Mustafa. Next, Sam Lukman, would you please answer the same question? What would you do to attempt to lower taxes while maintaining the high level of city services? Can it be done without cuts?
Yeah, most certainly. So there's a lot of things that I've done my homework on with the city's budget that I recognize. First of all, we have a lot of projects that administration proposes that are excessive in costs and that are sometimes unnecessary. For example, the art space lofts cost us $8.5 million. The Dunworth bathhouse, the bathroom that's getting built right now, is costing us $4 million. The COVID tents that were put up, $200,000. The logo, $500,000. All of these frivolous projects, there should have been some accountability from City Council to deny them or to at least try to save some money in reducing the costs of them. In addition, there are a lot of operational costs that need to be reduced. For example, some directors are getting paid $200,000 salaries. This needs to be addressed. So these types of cuts that can be made, this type of accountability that can be had, this is what it needs to be done in order to help save the residents some money. Look, I'm a single mom. I work 2 jobs. I know the value of $1, and I know if a penny goes down the drain, how much that hurts. Money doesn't grow on trees for people, and the council needs to act that way. And the council needs to be protective of the residents' money as if it was their own. So my commitment to residents is that when I am on council, that is exactly what I would do. I'll make sure that we are committed to ensuring that our dollars are spent wisely.
Thank you, Ms. Lukman. Mr. Al-Awathi, you'll be also receiving the same question. What would you do to attempt to lower taxes while maintaining the high level of city services? And can this be done without cuts? Looks like we lost Mr. Al-Awathi again. So we're just going to have to move on to the next question here. We're going to go with the next topic we're going to address is going to be economic development. And we're going to be starting with Ms. Lukman. Ms. Lukman, if elected to the City Council, what types of new businesses would you like to see in Dearborn, and how would you go about getting them to locate here?
So one of the things that I oppose is the industrial focus on industry and large corporations that Dearborn has done over the last 100 years. That has hurt small businesses and small business owners. Nobody wants to open up a shop next to a factory. Additionally, some of the ordinances that they're trying to propose, like now the marijuana facilities ordinance, nobody's going to open up a bakery next door to a marijuana shop. So what I would propose is to have more small business owners come into town. And this can be done by revamping the building and safety department that is unfriendly to investors, quite frankly. As a realtor, I know how long it takes to get a CFO when I have an investor who wants to buy a property and it's taking 6 to 9 months to close on the purchase because of it. So we need to revamp some of the departments in the city to make it more friendly to small business owners. And I think we need to focus on that. Other cities are focused on those kinds of businesses and they're thriving. I mean, look at Royal Oak. Look at some of these other cities that are making a killing and they're succeeding and they have quality services. So Dearborn doesn't need to continue focusing on large corporations that are going to pollute and kill their residents, quite literally. They need to focus on the small business owners that can come here, and they need to do that by making it a little bit more easy for them to come into town.
Thank you kindly for your response. Next, Mustafa, we're going to ask you the same question. What types of businesses would you like to see in Dearborn, and how would you go about bringing them to locate here?
So, this kind of ties into what I was saying earlier, which is we need to grow our business base, and that's going to contribute overall to many other issues that we face in the city. But also, in order to do that, we have to solve existing issues. So in order to attract businesses, you have to have a robust environment that's ready for them. Part of that is fixing our infrastructure, but also we have to make sure that we ensure our school system is also up to par, that we're producing the graduates who are going to actually stay here and be a good base of talent for them. I don't have as much of an issue with large companies. The University of Michigan, Ford Motor Company, and Beaumont Health Systems have invested in Dearborn for generations. And I think that it's very important that we maintain our collaborations with them. I also have said many times that it's important that small business owners face less red tape at City Hall when opening a business. It's true that our economic development department and our buildings department have been very difficult to deal with, and part of that is a lack of accountability on the part of the city council. So it's going to be critical that we streamline internal city processes for small business owners, and that we understand directionally, why businesses want to invest in Dearborn, what kind of things we can do to make it better. So I think that would be overall my view on it.
Thank you for your response, Mr. Hamoud. Our last topic for the night is going to be infrastructure. Obviously, flooding is a major issue in the city of Dearborn, and a lot of the reasons that that we've been hearing in the community for fixing this issue has to do with high costs. So if you were elected to the city council, how would you attempt to fix this problem, and how would you go ahead and secure funding for the city to fix these infrastructure issues?
Is that directed to me?
Oh, it's directed to you, Mr. Hamoud. I'm sorry about that.
Oh, okay. So I mean, as I've said throughout this campaign, Dearborn needs to invest in our infrastructure, and it needs to be designed to cope with heavy rainfall. Currently, we're pumping a lot of money into a project that, quite frankly, is a failure, and it's actually going to exacerbate our current issues. We have to actually, when we do spend money, we have to make sure that we spend it on a system that's actually going to work. And as we've seen with the current rainfalls, that's a big part of the problem. We actually sized the system improperly. We built it based on minimum federal standards instead of actually looking at rainfall numbers. And any engineer would tell you, that this system is going to fail, and it has failed our residents, and it's going to continue failing our residents until we reassess the whole thing. I think, driving back to your original question, which is how are we going to get the money? Right now, there's multi-trillion-dollar bills in Congress that exist specifically for this. And guess what? We're going to have a hard time taking advantage of that money. You know why? Because we don't have a plan. How can we go ask representatives? How can we go ask the state? How can we go ask the federal government for money when we don't have a plan on how we would spend it? And that plan is going to be critical with even securing the funding in the first place. So the interesting thing is, right now, infrastructure is a national issue, and we're not taking advantage of it as a city because we're playing politics instead of actually trying to get results for the residents.
Thank you for that, Mustafa. It looks like Saeed has joined us. Saeed, we're going to ask you a similar question. What's the first thing, in your opinion, that needs to be worked on when it comes to the city infrastructure? For example, roads, sewers, or otherwise. How would you prioritize them?
First, I apologize. Can you guys hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
Okay, hang on one second because think I'm using my phone for mic and using the computer for the sound. Sorry about that, because they didn't work independently. But anyway, to answer your question, I think that's a very important question. And from my perspective, I think that we need to take control of our infrastructure. With the city services where we stand, I'm not saying they can wait, but I think it's more important to try to focus some of our time and to make sure our infrastructure gets fixed, to update our sewage infrastructure, and to make sure that we reach out to our federal government, our state level, and as well as our county to provide us with funding and resources to resolve this issue that's been going on for a very long time. It's been neglected enough, and I think we need to step up our game and take care of this, because we can have another flood tomorrow or the day after. So, infrastructure.
Thank you so much for your response, Saeed. Next, Sam, do you mind answering the same question? What would you prioritize when it comes to the infrastructure, whether it be roads, sewers, or otherwise?
Well, I would prioritize them based on who's affected most, and in the worst way. And we know that the sewage problem or CSO projects are the ones that are affecting the residents the most right now. And so I would prioritize that. From doing my homework and doing my research, I've learned that the city has had multiple projects that have failed from 1998 all the way through to 2014. And in fact, they've even been sued by the contractor who was building the sewage in 2018 because they had poor design. That means there's been a lack of accountability by the city council. They've created projects time and time again using taxpayer dollars that have failed. And so that is something that is an issue, and there needs to be accountability for it going forward. We need to vet the contractors. We need to do our due diligence before we start breaking ground and wasting taxpayer dollars. Now, regarding the actual a plan for it, I am the only candidate who has actually submitted a plan to my state representative on a property that is in the city of Dearborn. It's a contaminated site. It's a brownfield property, which really can't be used for much, but it can be used for a retention basin. And that retention basin can be built using what is called a brownfield grant, which is $1 million that comes from the state. In addition, that plan has been submitted to the federal and state government to see if we can also do a solar field on top of it. This is a plan that I've proposed and that I think would work for residents in order to save them from flooding. And in addition, it would generate electricity for the city of Dearborn. Now, I do have a plan, and that's one thing that I stand out from other candidates, is that I do my homework and that I am trying to solve the issue by proposing something. Now, if there's other things that we can do, of course, we can look into it down the road. But I am somebody who is willing to do my homework and do the legwork even before I get into office. I've been a resident activist for decades, and it's something that I will continue to do in or out of council. And that's why I'm asking for residents' votes, because if I get into council, I will be able to actualize a lot of the things that I want to put into place. I've actually brought 250 rain gardens and trees in the last year alone. Another 100 will come, inshallah, or hopefully for the next 5 years, each year, using corporate money, no taxpayer dollars. So I'm actually building green infrastructure as we speak and as a resident. That is something that I am proud of, because I'm an environmental activist, that I will continue to do. And I'm asking people to help me so I can bring these ideas and this work into the city's government, so I can bring more grants and more funding from the federal government and other entities into our city and not have to use taxpayer dollars each and every time. This is going to alleviate the burden that's on the residents themselves. So I do ask for your vote in order for me to continue to do that work.
Thank you. Mr. Alawathi, before we move on to closing statements, we're going to give you a chance to answer the question that you missed due to the computer issue. The topic was economic development, and the question that you need to answer, and you have 1 minute to answer, is what types of new businesses would you like to see in Dearborn, and how would you go about getting them to locate to Dearborn? You're muted again. You need to, yep, there you go.
Thank you for that question. Definitely, we need a diverse type of business in our city. We want to make sure that we work with investors and Downtown Development Authority to attract and retain more businesses in our city. With my accounting experience, we can find ways to reduce our property taxes and make sure that we give our business owners some sort of incentives that will attract them to come to our city to do business instead of leaving our city. Thank you.
Thank you kindly, Saeed, and thank you for working through those technical difficulties. We really appreciate it.
No problem.
Last but not least, we're going to give everyone a moment or a minute to give a closing statement. Let's begin with Mustafa. Would you please provide a 1-minute closing statement?
Yeah, so while I'm sure many of you already have a few choices chosen for council, I'm asking you to add me to your list. I promise to bring to the table my professional experience as a Ford engineer and my perspective as a lifelong member of this community to better serve you. I believe it's time to get results for our city and to return to our history of innovation and leadership from Dearborn. We've watched some politicians come to us during election time, but not act when tough decisions are made. I'm not looking for in politics, so I can and I will make the tough decisions needed to push for real solutions. I pledge to push for a real solution to our broken infrastructure, advocate for safer streets and neighborhoods, champion clean air and water for all of our residents, ensure fiscal responsibility, support business development, and implement the common sense solutions we have needed for years in this city. If I have the honor to serve you on the City Council, most importantly, I promise to listen to the residents. And only by working all together can we build a better Dearborn. Thank you.
Thank you for your statement, Mr. Hamoud. Ms. Luqman, your closing statement, please.
Sure. I am a realtor, like I said. I'm also a legal administrative specialist. So I have the background that would help me in contract law and understanding some of the legalities in the city. More importantly, I'm a single mom with 2 kids, a 5-year-old and a 2-year-old, and I live alone with my mom, who's 72 years old. Safety is a priority for me. And I can tell you, the man in my house is my 5-year-old son. So I call the police all the time when there are issues in our neighborhood. And I want to make sure that safety continues to be a priority for all of Dearborn. Now, on another note, I've also worked on ordinances in the past. I've helped the city with writing the fugitive air dust ordinance, and I'm actually working right now with the city on writing an anti-idling ordinance, both of which will reduce air pollution and help residents breathe cleaner air. I'm also one that is pushing for quality services and equitable distribution of those services. I want to see all of the city get the same types and level of services that is needed. From recreation to schooling, I've been an advocate for more saving the pools, for more investment into both of them, for ensuring that our kids have a place to play and that it is clean and sanitary and safe for them. Now, I'm just as affected as you are by the loss of shoveling for seniors, the closing of the Snow Branch Library, seeing Hemlock, Crowley, and Whitmore Park pools be closed, and I want to see those types of services come back to Dearborn. So I'm asking for your vote. My name is Sam Luqman. Please ensure to bubble that in on election day.
Thank you so much for your response, Sam. Last but surely not least, Saeed, would you please give us a 1-minute closing statement?
Sure. First, I'd like to take the opportunity to thank What's Up Media and the team for putting this together. And of course, taking the trouble that I caused. I'm a lifelong resident and been a lifelong servant of the city of Dearborn and its residents. I'm a qualified candidate who is passionate, committed, and someone who will work in the best common interest of our city and its residents. I have served 8 years as a traffic commissioner, 4 years as a precinct delegate. I serve on many nonprofit organizations as board of director. I work as a mental health professional, and I have over 20 years experience in accounting. Dearborn needs someone who cares, someone that the resident can trust, someone who is committed and can get things done. We need to hear the residents' issue and come up with solutions for all of these issues. Vote Saeed Al-Awadi on November 2nd, and please take advantage of the early voting that's open at the clerk's office every day, 8 a.m. to 4:30 p.m. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Alawathi, and thank you everybody for joining us tonight. We really appreciate it. We're going to go ahead and kick this back to Hassan Hasham, and we wish you guys the best of luck, and have a good night.
Mustafa and Sujud, I'm going to still have you guys be with us. I know we should have, I know we have Mike Saraini with us. I really want to give the chance for the community to hear from everyone, to be honest with you. I know we were supposed to end it, but City Council had a study session. I know Mike joined us. I know Leslie, she texted me she wants to join, and Erin texted me she wants to join. We're going to give them a couple of minutes so we can be fair to everyone. This is how we do things at WhatsApp Media. We have to be unbiased and fair and give the chance to everyone that's been given to everyone else. So we're going to, couple of minutes, 3 minutes, we're going to wait for Leslie and Erin to join us, and then we'll go ahead and give the same chance to Mike, Erin, and Leslie. So Mustafa and Sujud, we're going to take a short break, a 3-minute break, and then we'll rejoin with Mike, Leslie, and Erin. Okay, I believe we have some that were able to join us. We gave them about 3 minutes. I know Councilman Mike Seraini is with us. I know Councilwoman Leslie Herrick is with us. Erin is still trying to join us. Just for the sake of saving time and respecting everyone's time, we're going to start. If Councilwoman Erin Burns or Councilman Robert Abraham join us, we're going to have them join like we did with Saeed. So I'm going to kick it back to Sujud and Mustafa to go ahead and relaunch this forum. For anyone that's watching, the forum will be available on all of our platforms. Even when it's done, you guys will be able to rewatch it. What we're gonna do, basically, when we're done, we're gonna basically trim out some of those long breaks that we were waiting to fix some technical issues or waiting for other to join, and then release a version that's basically has only the parts where candidates were speaking. So I'm gonna kick it back to Sujud and Mustafa, and then welcome our Councilman Mike Seraini and also our Councilwoman Leslie Herrick.
Good evening, everybody. I hope everybody's doing well, and I hope that council meeting went well. So before we kick things off, just a few procedural stuff to go over. We're gonna obviously begin with a 1-minute introduction for each person joining us, and then from there we're gonna be asking the same 3 questions that we asked the previous group that just exited, and each of you would have 1 minute to answer each question, and once you reach the 10-second mark, there will be a little timer that will come up on your screen just so you know where you're at. And once all the questions have been answered, what we're going to do is each person is going to get a 1-minute closing statement. And then from there, we're going to go ahead and end the forum. With that being said, Councilman Seraini, would you please begin with your opening statement? You have 1 minute.
Okay. Well, hello, everybody. Can you hear me well?
Yes.
Okay, thanks for having us tonight, and understand that we had city business to attend to. So again, my name is Mike Seraini, and I am running for council. I've been on the council the last 8 years, and I believe that I have made an impact. It's been an honor serving, and it was very intriguing this term to decide to run again, because I felt that with a new administration, a new mayor, and a lot of changes happening, I felt there would be an outstanding time to be part of that change and to make an impact and use the experience that I've had over those 8 years to get things done. And I pride myself on being a person that returns people's calls, that listens to their concerns. And I've always prided myself on getting results. I believe that the end result is what matters. And if you can make things better for a person's life, then you've done your job. So it's been an honor serving as your councilman, and I hope that you will consider me on Tuesday, November 2nd on your ballot.
Thank you, Councilman Seraini. So obviously we have some technical difficulties. Here we go. Hey, Ms. Herrick, how are you? Go ahead and proceed with your opening statement. You also have 1 minute.
Okay, sorry, not ideal circumstances. I'm in my car, and anyway, I appreciate the opportunity to speak with you this evening. I'm running for Dearborn City Council, building on 4 years of leadership and successful advocacy for Dearborn residents. I'm eager to continue listening and improving transparency and delivering first-class services equitably to residents across the city. I have a legacy of making fact-based decisions and finding solutions that work long-term for the growth and enhanced quality of life for everyone in Dearborn. I'm uniquely qualified to serve with my experience on council, but prior to that, I had this experience I have that sets me apart from all the other candidates is that I've worked in Dearborn City Hall. I've worked for the Dearborn Public Schools. I've worked for one of our largest financial employers, and I've worked for the Dearborn Community Fund on things that enhance quality of life in Dearborn and bring people together, arts, culture, recreation, music. And a lot of people know that I worked on the Dearborn Homecoming Festival for years, raising funds. In addition, something that sets me apart from any of the other candidates is that I'm the only candidate that's gone through training through the Michigan Municipal League to better understand effective budget management and how to provide city services. Throughout my first term on council, I worked with residents and businesses and community leaders across the city to help keep Dearborn a safe and inviting place where people are eager to live and work and visit. and I've hosted community discussions and been honored to participate in business meetings, neighborhood association meetings, and talk with people at their doorsteps. And I've listened and responded to their concerns and priorities of residents and business owners. I've been involved, I've been visible, I've been responsive, and I'm eager.
Oh, she disconnected again. So until she comes in, we're going to go ahead and begin with the first question.
We're going to begin with economic development, and this question goes to Councilman Sereni. What types of new businesses would you like to see in Dearborn, and how would you go about bringing them to locate here?
Okay, thank you for that question. I know it's only a minute, so we got a lot of issues in Dearborn right now. We have properties under receivership at the Fairlane Mall. We have our Hyatt Regency Hotel that when I was a kid used to have a monorail that take you to the mall. And there's a lot of things that have changed and the environment's changed. So I think we need fresh new ideas to attract new investment in the city of Dearborn. And the way that happens, people don't invest if there's a lot of red tape and there's a lot of issues. I have been very vocal on the council about the Michigan Department. The MEDC has rated the city of Dearborn as a yellow light for business development because they require a minimum of 3 ordinance revisions to get anything approved. Anything to go through the city takes at least 3 revisions. That's not my saying, that's the Michigan Economic Development Corporation has indicated that. So we have to clean up our ordinances to make them more business friendly and allow businesses to come here. There's a lot of new businesses that can come here, but you need to look outside the box. There's companies and restaurants and facilities and also activities, which I think I'm very big about getting activities to come into our city that will attract other than food and restaurants like Top Golf and other facilities that are out in the suburban areas.
Councilwoman Herrick will be. Thank you, Councilman Sereni. Councilwoman Herrick will be asking you the same question that we asked Mr. Sereni. And the question is, what types of new businesses would you like to see in Dearborn? And how would you go about bringing those businesses to Dearborn?
I'm excited about new leadership at the city level because frankly, I just feel that in addition to the challenges of being through the pandemic and everything that our current businesses have had to endure, we provide a lot of support to them, but we haven't been looking forward at all the last couple of years. It's been very difficult, not just because of the pandemic, but the city itself. And council has tried to push the administration to do more. And on, working with our Downtown Development Authority and our Chamber of Commerce, we need to kind of regroup and move forward because we have such a great opportunity here in Dearborn with Ford Motor Company being here. But some of the things that I know that we're lacking is family opportunities for families to enjoy recreation beyond what we have at our stellar Performing Arts Center. One of the things that I'd like to see come here is possibly a Great Wolf Lodge type of business where it'll be an additional attraction for people that come from around the country and around the world to go to the Henry Ford and to the internationally known Arab American Museum. So more things that will be appealing to both people that live here as well as those who come to visit us, as well as enhanced shopping. And we just have such a limit as to the shopping available here for our residents and again people that are coming to visit. So we need to go back to the drawing board and work with our partners to attract other businesses to come here.
Thank you kindly, Councilwoman Herrick. Next question is for you as well. It's on infrastructure, and more specifically, what is the first thing, in your personal opinion, that needs to be worked on when it comes to the city infrastructure, whether it be roads, the sewers, or otherwise, and how would you prioritize them?
I've been while on city council, I was happy to support the multimodal transportation plan that was worked on for a couple of years with a lot of public input from businesses and residents. So we passed that last year, and that has a lot of vision in it for making Dearborn more walkable, bikeable, accessible for people that are coming here to visit. We've got the John D. Dingle Transit Center here. So those things are already in place and we're already moving forward with that. And of course, I want to make sure that we continue to fund those things to make us more bikeable and appealing to a variety of people that come to visit here or choose to live here. But top priority on everyone's mind, as we go door to door, introducing ourselves to the voters and in our own neighborhoods, is the flooding that we incurred this summer. It was horrific. It devastated people's homes. It was surprising that how bad it was. And that's something that we've already, as council, we've already allocated funds to bring in a third party to evaluate our system as it is, and what needs to be done, what needs to be done going forward. I'm sorry, there's
no, you're fine.
Number 2 issue in the city of Dearborn with all residents is dangerous driving. And I'm in the parking lot at our Dearborn Administrative Center, and somebody is doing just that here right now. So anyway, we need to allocate the funds to look at our sewer system. It's 100 years old in some parts. It's been upgraded. Capacity has not been increased to what obviously we need with the increasing rain that we're probably not going to see that change going forward. And we need to introduce a sustainability plan that's citywide that includes dealing with an increased watershed, so that it's not.
I'm sorry to cut you off, Ms. Eric, but your minute is up. I apologize.
I'm Leslie.
I'm sorry. Leslie. I apologize, Leslie, but your minute is up.
Okay, thank you.
No problem.
Serious apologies.
Mr. Serini, same question for you.
Infrastructure. I'm big on infrastructure. I believe the government's fundamental role is safety and security of residents. That's their fundamental role. And the residents cannot be safe if the basements are flooding with.
We can't hear you, Mike.
Can you hear me now?
There we go. Yeah.
Okay. So as I was indicating, safety and security of the residents is the number one priority of a governmental job. And I believe that you can't be safe in your home if you're having sewer water coming up into your house. I said it 3 years ago on the record. If you look at my website, councilmanserini.com, I said there's a problem with the sewers. I'm not an engineer, but I know living here all my life that when you see 2 inches of water in this rain, not 10, 2, flooding throughout the streets, and the engineer saying that's the way it's supposed to be done. We got a fundamental problem. But what's more important is you can't fix a problem that you don't recognize is there. Now, we just got them to recognize there is a problem, and we're working on an independent study that I called for 3 years ago. And now we're working towards that. We actually applied for a grant that could put off shutoff valves and shut off 4,500 homes at a time to stop them from flooding. There is a solution, and the infrastructure problem is number 1 is the sewer issues. Number 2 is our roads. Our roads are not in good condition. They're not in the standard of what you pay your taxes. I know that our engineering said that we're above the average in the state. Our roads are in good condition compared to the state. I disagree, just like I did about the sewers. The roads need to be repaired at a higher rate. I asked to allocate $1 million. Councilman Bazzi supported me on it a couple of years back to go ahead and allocate $1 million more to put in 2 more miles of road. And our engineering department could not get enough people to do the roads. I believe that we have to look at our roads. It needs to get done. There's roads in the city that are absolutely horrible. So that's number 2 on the infrastructure. 1 is our sewers, and 2 is our roads need to be repaired, and those are top priority for me.
Thank you kindly, Councilman Michael Serini. Next, we're going to move on to property taxes and city services. And this question also goes out to Councilman Serini. Do you mind letting us know what would you do to attempt to lower taxes and while maintaining the high level of city services, and do you believe it could be done without cuts?
Absolutely, it can be done. Absolutely. I don't know why people keep saying it. Let me tell you something. We have a city that's the size of many other cities like Ann Arbor. We have 9 lawyers in the legal department. They have 4. There's waste everywhere that we can cut. We can cut waste and still get our city services where they are. I believe our city services, I've lived there all my life. I believe that they have decreased. We could do better on them, and we could do more efficiency. And yes, I do believe the taxes are a problem. That's why I was the one that called the city assessor under and asked him for an investigation and asked to speak to him, and 4 other council people boycotted the meeting. But guess what? When he did come, we found out that the city assessor and the city assessor department was in violation with the state, and the city council was unaware of that. So I do believe that the city has a problem with taxes, and it's not only the tax rate, because the tax rate you can only change by cutting services and lowering the millage. But what you can also do is fairly assess a home. So if somebody buys a home for $400,000 because he overbid what its value, then the city assessor should not put $450,000. And that's what was happening. Houses were overassessed and people were complaining. And I will make sure, just like I held the city assessor accountable before, I will hold him accountable again by calling a meeting and making him come up and appear and state on the record how he comes up with these assessments. By the way, for the record, after that meeting, very shortly after, the assessor retired. I am very proud of the job I did. I hold people accountable for what they do, and we have to make sure our residents get the fair shake. You cannot turn around and unjustly charge somebody a higher rate than what they're supposed to be being charged by the law. And it's our job as the council to make sure that we do that. There's some people, including the city attorney, that said I did not have the authority to test the assessor. And after I used my legal education and told her that that was inaccurate, the meeting was called, and we did find out that the assessor was overcharging people for taxes, such as people that were building homes and were saying that they were 90% complete and there was no drywall in the house. So I don't know, you don't have to have a building license to know that a house cannot be 90% complete when there's no drywall. So I will continue to hold the assessor accountability and make sure we have fair assessments.
Thank you kindly, Councilman Serini. Last question, it goes to Councilwoman Harris, and it's the same question. What would you do to attempt to lower our taxes while maintaining the high level of services? And can it be done without cuts? And our sincerest apologies for cutting you off earlier.
I apologize, but I have a really spotty connection, so you're chopping in and out. I'm happy to say that the current city council already has made a move to give tax relief to the residents, and so on the ballot in November, we've been told by the city treasurer that the coffers, the amount of money that we collect in property taxes right now is still not up to the amount that was collected in 2008. And we are still trying to provide the same level of city services that we did. And of course, that costs more to provide today. So that's why we need the additional millage that's on the ballot in November to be put there for the voters to vote upon. But we already are providing some relief in that instead of being a 3.5 millage, it's a 2.75. And instead of being 5 years, it's a 3-year millage. That gives the new city administration some time to put measures into place to continue to provide the level of services that our residents expect and deserve, but not paying the increased taxes. So a couple of the things that we can do is continue to look for the grants and hire a grant writer who's dedicated to working for Dearborn to bring in other funding sources, as well as additional businesses that can help offset the price that the residents are paying for their property taxes. Did my time run out? I saw a timer.
Okay, there we go. I'm unmuted. Okay. Thank you both for being here tonight and for answering these questions for all the viewers. We really appreciate it. And we appreciate the work that you do for the city as well. Before we go ahead and close off, we're going to end with a closing statement from each of you, and we will begin with Councilman Mike Serini. You have 1 minute.
All right. Well, all right. Thank you very much. I appreciate the opportunity to be here in the show. Again, I am asking for your vote Tuesday, November 2nd, for your council. The council is extremely important. We're going to have a new administration and experience and people that can do the job is much needed. And I hope that you will consider me. I want to make sure people understand that I am a very passionate person. I do hold a full-time job. I do take the council job extremely seriously. That's why I return every call and every email. I respond to residents and I get resolved. I believe that I've done that job. I've done it over the last 8 years, and I believe that I can do it going into the future. I believe right now leadership is very important in the city. We're going to have a big changeover with retirements and new administrators, and we need to get things in our house in order and bring Dearborn into the future. And in order to do that, we have to have good vision, and we have to have less obstruction and less waste of time. I've been able to do that during my term. I've done the best I can, and I believe that I can do more. I have more to give. It's a very exciting time for Dearborn. We have a mayor's race we have never had in so many years, and a council that is going to see at least 3 new people, if not more, depending on the election. I think that it is a great time to be in the city of Dearborn, and I just want to be part of this great city and make sure that we keep it moving in the right direction. I believe that my leadership skills, my website, councilmanserini.com, shows you my views, whether it was flooding, taxes, whether I voted against the water bills where they have increased on the residents and decreased on the businesses. I have been leading these issues. I haven't shied away from anything. I never will. I believe that I'm there to do a job, and I take my job very seriously. And I hope that you consider me on Tuesday, November 2nd. Mike Serini, I appreciate it. Thank you.
Thank you kindly for that, Councilman Serini. And last but not least, Councilwoman Leslie Herrick, would you please give a 1-minute closing statement?
Thank you. It's been my honor to serve the residents of Dearborn for the past 4 years on your city council, and I'm eager to continue the work that I started 4 years ago, listening to residents and businesses across the city to provide equitable services and to everyone across the city. I've worked on improving transparency and continuing to deliver first-class city services, even in challenging economic times. I'm known for making fact-based decisions and finding solutions that work for long-term economic growth and the benefit of our residents and the quality of life for everyone in our city. I'm uniquely qualified to serve, having been on council for the past 4 years, and prior to that, having a lot of experience working with the Dearborn Public Schools and other entities across the city, as well as decades of volunteer work. And that's why people asked me to run 4 years ago. And that's why I'm wanting to continue the service that I've been doing. My service is personal for me as a homeowner, as a single mom raising my son here, and having grown up and gone to the Dearborn schools myself. Please vote for Leslie Herrick for Dearborn City Council. Learn more about me at www.leslieherrickfordearborn.com. And take a look at my credentials, but also that I've been there listening to the residents for the past 4 years, and I'm accessible, visible, and eager to continue to serve.
Mustafa, you're muted, brother.
Sorry. I was going to say thank you both for your time tonight, and we really appreciate you and the work that you do for the city. We wish you both the best of luck on your campaigns, and good luck this coming election. Thank you, and have a good night. We'll get back to Hassan Hashim.
Thank you again.
Thank you, Mustafa, and thank you, Attorney Mustafa Hawili, and thank you, Attorney Sujud Hamadi. Thank you, everyone, for tuning in. This was the final Dearborn City Council Forum 2021. We tried our best to have everyone join and answer the questions and talk about their visions and how they're planning to tackle the issues facing our city. We were able to get as many candidates as possible. We were supposed to have all 14 candidates, some due to personal reasons like Lola, some due to technical issues, or Saeed was able to rejoin and basically answer the questions. Some of the incumbents, our current council members, they had a special study session that basically took longer than expected. So Councilman Serini and Councilwoman Leslie Herrick, they were able to join us. So we thank them for doing so. Again, thank you to the moderators. Thank you to all the candidates that took part in this very important forum. Sharing information and sharing knowledge and being accessible to residents. This is one important thing to do, and we need to really encourage all candidates, all public elected officials to do so. This was our forum for the City Council candidates. We're going to have another forum on Thursday live. Hopefully, we're not going to have technical issues because that one will be live from our studios in Dearborn, Michigan. Both candidates, Gary Warrenchek and Abdullah Hamoud, will be live at our studios this Thursday at 8:30 p.m. Eastern Time, live exclusively on WhatsApp Media Network for the final Dearborn Mayoral Forum. You'll be able to hear about their vision for Dearborn. We're going to have a new mayor. So this is something exciting, to be honest with you guys. So please tune in on Thursday for the final Mayoral Forum between Abdullah Hamoud and Gary Warrenchek, exclusively on WhatsApp Media Network at 8:30 p.m. This was Hussein Hashim for WhatsApp Media Network. Thank you again for everyone that tuned in. We're gonna have this available for you guys to watch it at your own time on YouTube, Facebook, our website, and all of our social media platforms. Thank you again, and have a good night, Dearborn.